At Iowa Public Radio, we know there are interesting things worth sharing every day. Fresh perspectives waiting to be heard, and that Iowa connection that adds relevance to what's happening anywhere in the world. Find your interests, find perspective, find relevance. Find it on IPR.
This is Garden Variety, a horticulture podcast from Iowa Public Radio and Iowa State University Extension and Outreach. I'm Charity Nebbe. The holidays we celebrate this time of year, Christmas, Hanukkah, solstice, all include elements that bring light and life into this dark season. Today, we'll focus on some of the plants we use in holiday traditions and to brighten our homes. And I know you're probably already thinking about poinsettias and Christmas trees, but we're going to go a little deeper into holiday plant lore today. With me, Erin Stile, Iowa State University Extension Horticulture Specialist. Hello, Erin.
Good morning.
And Cindy Haynes, Professor of Horticulture at ISU. Hello, Cindy.
Good morning.
And I think we should start with mistletoe. I think we all know that when you stand under mistletoe, you're supposed to kiss someone. I think we also all know that it's poisonous.
Yes.
Tell me why we include this in our holidays.
Well, it's part of it was part of several kind of Druid holidays and had a lot of symbolism in fertility. And it's a parasitic, it's really weird because it's a parasitic plant that lives off of something else, but still photosynthesizes, but was at one point in time used as a lot of kind of in medicinal things to cure some things, and then became romanticized as this, increased chance of marriage if you kissed underneath the mistletoe.
Interesting. And it was also used to ward off evil for a while as well.
Yes.
Okay,
right.
So I guess
ward off evil spirits. I think it's because those poisonous berries would kill anything, right?
I guess so. Well, so you said it's parasitic. Like, where do you find it?
It is. So it grows on trees, particularly in the South. So I've seen it a lot in Texas and Oklahoma, growing on like really large oak trees, and it grows on the branches. And what's cool about it is you don't really notice it's there when the leaves are on, and then you notice it this time of the year when the leaves have fallen off. And you see these little bunches of green all over the tree. Yeah. So the other cool thing about it isn't just the fact that it's a parasitic plant that grows on a tree, on a host tree. Even though it can photosynthesize, it gets all its water and nutrients really from the tree. But it's also how they harvest it. I mean, so here's this tiny little plant that's usually only maybe a foot in diameter, that's growing 50 feet up on a branch on a tree, and so and then we sell it as a little sprig of something that you put over your doorway. But harvesting it is a little bit tricky because it's hard to climb the tree unless you get a bucket up there, like a cherry picker. Pole pruners usually aren't long enough. Sometimes you can use pole pruners. So they often shoot it down from the tree. And you have to be a really good shot because you're trying to get it at that one place where it's kind of connected to the branch without damaging the branch. And then shoot it down. And then you hope, as it's falling down, that it doesn't catch on something else and totally destroy this perfect little bouquet of mistletoe. So that you can have these little sprigs to give.
But people have to farm it now. Is that actually how people are still harvesting mistletoe?
I think it is. It's not the easiest thing to farm, because it's something that I don't know. Can you seed it onto something else and grow it? I don't think so.
I don't know that it's. I know a lot of it is wild collected, kind of like the way you collect greens. I mean, you might have some areas that are really thick with it or heavy with it that you harvest from regularly, or even do things like help promote the growth of it. And Oklahoma and Texas is where a large percentage of this stuff comes from, even though it is native, basically the entire southeastern North America.
Right.
And then there's a European species, different genus, but looks similar, that's native throughout Europe.
Right. And that's where the legends kind of come from, or some of the European druid uses of them. But yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing
So if you
plant
buy
mistletoe from start to
mistletoe, spare a thought
Real
for the
mistletoe.
people who harvest
right
it.
who harvested. Yes, and I think that's also why you see more plastic mistletoe now,
Sure.
too, because it's not the
easier to
easiest.
harvest. And then you
Yeah.
can pull it out next year too. All right, well let's talk about, because they are linked in A Christmas Carol, but let's talk about holly now, which is again something that we see a lot of during the holiday season. People often want to grow holly here. We've had a lot of conversations about that over the years. Tell me about holly as a plant.
So holly has been around and been revered, especially this time of year, for quite some time. The Romans actually really used holly in a lot of celebrations. Again, it's another plant that has some medicinal uses in the past.
Right.
And I think it kind of links into this idea of this time of year, a lot of the plants that we use in traditions are evergreen, because a lot of stuff isn't green this time of year, and it's so dark. And so anything we can do to bring green, bring light into our homes is welcomed. And so these bright red berries, this very thick evergreen foliage that doesn't dry out right
Which is
away.
shiny. It's beautiful.
And shiny,
Yes.
yep, is all just a really nice addition in the home this time of year. For us, one of the challenges is growing holly. So when we think, if you ask a first grader to draw holly, the thing that they would draw looks a lot like English holly or American holly, both of which don't grow well in Iowa. American holly, maybe if you had a really protected location. But because it's evergreen, our winters are really rough on it.
Right.
There is a holly it's a hybrid of English holly and a Japanese species, I think. I don't remember both parents, but it's called Meserve holly.
Right.
And this one is readily winter hardy for us here in Iowa and has that kind of classic holly look to it. The deer love to eat it, though, so you got to be careful
it's
there.
It's a super dark green, though.
But it's a beautiful dark green.
Yeah.
It has that kind of classic, kind of scalloped with the sharp points on the leaf. And like all hollies, there are male and female plants. And so only the female plants produce those beautiful berries, but you have to have a male one around somewhere to get the berry. And so it may be that just one of the plants is male and 3 or 4 of them are female, or they actually sell some pots now where a cutting of each is planted in the pot and they kind of intertwine with each other. That means that the whole shrub wouldn't be in berry. It might be parts of the shrub that are in berry, but it's still nice. And if we don't grow Meserve holly, the other ones don't have that same classic look to them that we can grow in Iowa. Winterberry is lovely, a nice native holly, but it's deciduous. But man, is it full of berries.
Yes, nice.
It's very pretty this time of year. And then the other one that we can use sometimes is called inkberry. It really looks more like boxwood than it does anything else. And so that one doesn't fit the tradition as well.
And this one came from the Romans?
The Romans started it.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, the Romans' influence on all of Europe, really carried that throughout too. And so I think that's why it persists. And the fact that it's evergreen and has those bright red berries this time of year, it just fits with this time of year in the way that we celebrate and decorate.
Of course, we celebrate Hanukkah this time of year. It moves around during the winter season. But I want to talk about lilies, because lilies are a traditional part of Hanukkah. Aaron, where did that come from?
It's interesting because there isn't like with holly and mistletoe and evergreen trees and even poinsettias, we have these very strong connections with Christmas and some of these plants. But Hanukkah doesn't have that same really strong kind of plant association. And it really hasn't ever. It is more surrounding food
And
typically
light.
and light. Yes. But one of the ones that I think has actually become kind of more of a modern tradition, and modern being in the last 50 or so years, has been bouquets of flowers with white and blue. And lily in particular is a great white bloom that has a lot of great symbolism that lines up with Hanukkah. So rebirth and light and peace and purity. And like these are all things that fit well with how Hanukkah is celebrated. And it's a beautiful flower.
Fragrant.
And then fragrant, yep. And you can pair it with blue flowers like delphinium, iris. Sometimes they even use hydrangea is a big one. Yep, the blue hydrangeas. Sometimes they even use blue orchids, the orchids that are dyed blue. And, blue and white is a beautiful palette. And so this can be a really beautiful bouquet this time of year.
Well, speaking of white and beautiful and fragrant, we have just a couple minutes left, but paper whites are also another thing that we see during the holidays. Tell me about paper whites. I mean, you've got to plan ahead.
You've got to plan ahead for this one. You actually have to plant the paper whites and kind of get them to grow. But this is like the easiest thing to do. So you don't have to chill them or force them like other daffodils because it's a type of narcissus. So you just put this one in a container, cover it lightly with soil, water it, put it in a sunny window, and then it is like magic. It appears and grows and produces these tiny white, incredibly fragrant blooms.
Fragrance a very lovely term.
Right.
Yes,
I said fragrant, but I thought, I have a really hard time with the fragrance.
It is a very strong fragrance. So if you've never done this before, it is a very strong fragrance, and people either tend to love it or they hate it. I will say it's definitely one you want to put in a very large room.
Yes.
So it kind of dilutes it.
Don't put it on your bedside table.
No.
It's very musky smelling.
It is.
And some folks would describe it as cat urine smelling. I think that's maybe a little harsh.
That's a little harsh.
That's a little harsh.
But musky is probably the best way to describe it.
Well, and some people love the fragrance.
Yeah. Yes. It is the dominant fragrance whenever you walk into that room. That's what you're gonna smell. So you might make sure you like it first. If not, it's one that you're gonna give to a neighbor, right?
Oh no. Now if I receive a paper white, I'm gonna be super suspicious. Cindy Haynes, professor of horticulture at Iowa State University. Aaron Stile, Iowa State University Extension horticulture specialist. For more gardening information and tips, please subscribe to our Garden Variety newsletter. Find out more at iowapublicradio.org/garden. I'm Charity Nebbe.
Wondering what's happening in Iowa? Curious what you've missed on your favorite show? Searching for an escape into an uplifting piece of classical music or an up-and-coming band? Find it in the Iowa Public Radio app. Our latest stories, national news, live radio, Iowa culture, podcasts, it's everything IPR, wherever you are. Search IPR in the Apple or Android App Store, or download it now at ipr.org/app.
Garden Variety is a production of Iowa Public Radio and Iowa State University Extension. It's produced by me, Aaron Stile, Caitlin Troutman, and the Iowa Public Radio talk show team. For more garden goodness, please subscribe to our Garden Variety newsletter. Just go to iowapublicradio.org/garden. I'm Charity Nebbe. See you next time.